The Congress is fighting, and it's fighting strong, but not to win any elections. The Congress is fighting to save itself as a national opposition party. With back-to-back electoral defeats, the voice of dissent is growing louder and louder. Congress is in shambles, and there's no easy way to say this. But it seems like it's the BJP that needs Congress more than the Congress needs itself. Hello and welcome. You're watching Times Now Digital, and I'm Akshat Khanna. Recently, Rahul Gandhi's foreign trip to a friend's wedding made headlines, and it was the BJP that had brought that video to people's attention. Some leaders even alleged a Chinese connection. However, all of this turned out to be false, as Rahul was in Nepal to attend a close friend's wedding. But what BJP gained out of this party video was enough to corner Congress. Sometimes showing others in the bad light works in one's favor than highlighting its own strength. And it seems like that the BJP is working to gain as much as possible by highlighting Congress's incompetence. However, it is not only the BJP that is working against the Congress. Congress itself seems to have lost the will to fight. From Nehru's Congress to Sonia and Rahul's Congress, the party has seen several lows and faced numerous blows. Recently, be it Punjab, Uttarakhand, Goa, Assam, or even Uttar Pradesh, where Congress did put in some efforts with Priyanka Gandhi taking the driving seat, but all of it went in vain as Congress failed terribly. And not to forget, Sidhu Channi fight in Punjab that did, to an extent, worked for the AAP. But if we keep all these flaws aside even for a second, it won't be wrong to say that it is the only party that can give a significant political and ideological challenge to BJP RSS. If we move a little forward to Haryana, one can find that Congress isn't doing any wonders there too, as it is dealing with internal rifts in the state too. Congress that had always boasted about working for the people was recently accused of looting these people. The matter was highlighted after some residents of Palwal filed a complaint against Haryana Pradesh Congress Committee President Uday Bhan. The complaint was submitted to State Home and Health Minister Anil Vij. The complaint alleged, and let me quote the complaint, it said former MLA had taken illegal possession of about 200 acres of Shalak Panchayat land and later got it registered in the name of its close aides. Is this what Congress has come down to? Now, for those who don't know this, Congress had recently appointed Uday Bhan, a Dalit leader and a loyalist of former Chief Minister Bhupinder Singh Hooda, as the chief of its Haryana unit. With assembly elections scheduled for 2024, the move comes at a time when the state unit is beset with factional feuds and seems to be a signal that party is entrusting the Haryana Pradesh Congress Committee to the Hooda camp. Bhan's appointment came at a juncture when factional war between Hooda and Kumari Selja, who became HPCC chief just before Haryana Assembly elections in 2019, had resurfaced. The reshuffle comes at a time when most of the Congress state units have either been reorganized or will undergo reorganization. Following its dismal performance in the previous assembly election, Congress has already appointed heads for its state units. Moving forward, let's talk about Gujarat. Going by the latest developments, Haryana isn't the only place where Congress is losing. Gujarat is the other place where Congress's numbers are going down and down. Recently, tribal leader Ashwin Kotwal from Congress resigned from the party and joined hands with the BJP. With this new resignation, Congress's tally in the state assembly now stands at 63. Meanwhile, BJP has 111 MLAs. The rift in Congress state unit comes ahead of Rahul Gandhi's visit to the state. Rahul Gandhi is likely to meet the tribals in Dohad. Also, not to forget, Hardik Patel, who was Gujarat Congress Committee working president, has recently removed Congress from his Twitter bio, which does give out the speculation of Hardik Patel exiting Congress. After facing poor electoral performances, some of the Congress supporters suggested that the only way for the Congress to get back into the game was Prashant Kishore. Prashant Kishore, soon after his debut into politics, was termed as the kingmaker. No, he wasn't a politician. He was a political strategist. There is a notion that any party that sides with Prashant Kishore ends up forming the government. For example, 2014 BJP, JDU in Bihar, or TMC in West Bengal. So it won't be wrong to say that with Prashant Kishore on Congress's side, the chances of party scoring a home run would have slightly increased. But now even that cannot help the party to return to its previous charm, as Kishore has announced that he won't be joining Congress after they turned down his revival plan for the party. Prashant Kishore was also asked to join Empowered Action Group, a new decision-making body set up by the Congress. But after days of public speculations, he turned down the offer. He tweeted, "In my humble opinion, more than me, the party needs the leadership and collective will fix the deep-rooted structural problems through transformational reforms." Congress has been struggling to regain the lost ground since first losing to Narendra Modi-led BJP in 2014. Since then, it has lost 2019 general election and also suffered a spate of defeats in several elections. Congress did win some states, but it was largely because of the local leaders putting up this spirited fight on the ground. With its lost glory and almost lost power, Congress supporters and even the G23 leaders have suggested an internal overhaul of the Congress party, which they believe is the only way for it to reclaim its lost glory. However, the top leadership has remained intact despite massive failures, and the light at the end of the tunnel is far away from the grand old party.